not saying back then, but I think there's maybe like a 4-year gap between us. So
Yeah.
when you decided to go America, was it as big, or like did people talk about it as much as they do now?
I would say no, man. I would say it's grown every year because I only knew about one person, I think, before me when I did it at the time. I only heard of one person do it. But then all of a sudden, when you're over there, you're even seeing players you might have even played against or like
Yeah.
known before or something, and you're like that's halfway across the world. So I think it definitely has been growing more and more, and even the sport as well, like soccer, obviously is what they call it, but it's definitely growing every year over there, which is really exciting.
Yeah. How did you find it when you first moved over there?
Like what, the country or the football or what? In general?
Everything. I know it was like a massive culture shock, everything shock.
Yeah.
And where did you go?
So my first college was just outside Atlanta. It's called Southern Polytechnic State. It's an NAIA school because I didn't get cleared for Division One because I was just given, for some absolutely nonsensical reason of like being paid. I was considered a professional because I was getting paid like $2,000 a year. So they were like, no, you're not allowed to play in D1. I'm like,
Mad.
I mean, you guys are like multi-billion-dollar industry, but that's fine. So I went NAIA first, and it was called Southern Poly. And Atlanta, like I just flew to Atlanta on my own and got picked up by a random guy who just, you know how it is, they just drive you to the college, drop your bags off, and then they're like, all right, here it is.
Here it is.
And you're like, what? You're like, this is gonna be my home for a couple of years now. So I loved it all because I was excited. I was really, really excited going into it. So everything was like charged with excited energy.
Yeah.
But like, it was an interesting experience first flying there because obviously you're super early in the morning. It's like 9 hours. I got there and it was like the second day of pre-season. So I got there and managed to like drop my bags, eat some food, and then train that same day for the evening session because they were just playing matches. No, I swear. So on the same day I traveled, I dropped everything off, ate. He took the assistant coach took me to McDonald's as well, first of all, for a quick snack, for a quick Big Mac with the medium drinks and fries.
Which is not medium, innit?
No, I learned that really quickly as well. And then I went straight to the pitch to like train at like 6 p.m. for an evening training session. So at least that way, like I just got thrown straight into it. You know, it's a good icebreaker though, to play football. You know, with the people you're gonna be with. Yeah. But it was insane. You really don't realize what you're doing at the time. You don't know what this means. Like for me sitting here right now, thinking back like 8 years ago when I first went out there. Like you have no idea what it means to make that decision, you know, until it actually plays out. It was incredible though.
True. When you made the decision, were you ever like, I shouldn't go, like, I should go? Or were you like completely, let me like just completely just go for it?
I definitely remember feeling, let me completely go for it, but it wasn't like a dream of mine. It was like more, let me completely go for it because like, we'll see what happens, you know? I don't know if you're allowed to swear on the podcast, but like, fuck it, you know what I mean? Like, you're just like, let's just see what's going to happen. Yeah. Because I told myself too, at the very least, if I hate it or it don't work out, I just come home, you know? Like, I'm only going to lose like a year or two, but then it went pretty well, so I carried on chilling out there.
Yeah, true. So what, you done NAIA and then you...
oh, yeah, no, man. Not even, like, I did one semester. I did one, and I dipped straight away because the American coach I had there was a disgrace, bro. Like, I showed up there soon after, like, I think on the second day of training. First of all, preseason was 3 sessions a day for 2 weeks, like 3 sessions a day. So that's right. That's how crazy it is. And you know how they do in America. They just run you. If they don't really know football, they're just going to condition you.
Yeah.
So we do like 7 a.m. like running on a track. Then like 12, you go home nap. Then like at 1 p.m. you do like another like 11v11 or something on the grass and running. And then at like 6 p.m. you do another like nonsense like run. Like this guy ran us. We had like 3 fitness tests to pass before you were allowed to even get kit. And the tests were all based on fitness, just running. So like I was, I mean, as soon as I was hearing this, I wasn't sure about this gaffer, right? And he's very, very American. So he just throws his like paper around and just like gets angry and then just gets us to run pretty much. Like he's useless with his emotions. And and then this is when I knew I had to transfer. Like one training session he was talking, just that year was I think the Euros, where Italy like got to the final.
Yeah.
Like the same year that Balotelli like scored that dumb goal and then just that volley and just stood there. And so he was like, yeah. Hey, did you guys catch that Euros in the summer? And like everyone's looking at him like, he's like, yeah, that guy with the long hair in the center midi for Italy, he's nice, man. Like,
no.
and I'm like, and he's like, what's his name again? Like, and then in my head I'm like, this guy's talking about Pirlo. Like, but he's just like, yeah, I thought he had attackers, man, or something. He just said some dumb shit. Didn't know who Andrea Pirlo was. So then from then on, I was like, all right, I need to get out of here. But the problem was I was having way too much fun in Atlanta. It was sick. I had a few friends who went to the bigger colleges like Georgia State and Georgia Tech. I was chilling like in an apartment like in the Midtown area of Atlanta. And I wasn't really going to lectures because I thought uni was like English uni, where, you know, as long as you just did the work, you'd be all right. So I just was chilling. I was hanging out in the city, like showing up for the exams. And obviously my GPA that year wasn't solid. It wasn't great, but we got it back up. But so everything was going good, but he was so bad that I got in contact with another D2 school that I'd already been talking to that was only like 2 hours away.
Yeah.
And I started chatting to them again because like they were trying to recruit me based on the football team. Like the football was actually good, the training was good. But the college was in the middle of nowhere. It was in like the boondocks of Georgia. It's like if you go north from Atlanta, you go near the border of North Carolina, there's like mountain ranges. So we was up there in Appalachian. So I went up there to check them out during this first semester and already was like, yeah, like I'm going, I need to get out. So I transferred that January. So I did one semester there and then the rest of my college was at Young Harris College, which was, mad. Yeah. But I was glad though, because as soon as I was there, like, whole team was like internationals because it was a private school, so they could like give other scholarships and stuff, you know, not just academic scholarship. We had like a Serbian who used to play for Red Star Belgrade's academy, Ilya Ilic. He plays for Indy 11 now. He's an absolute baller. Like we had a boy called Lewis Hilton who plays for Tampa now, Tampa Bay Raiders. And we had a few more, like we were just ballers, bro. We had a few other boys we played in back in Europe after graduating. So I was so lucky to find that there. So I was happy there. So I chilled, you know.
True. When you came to America, did you always think that you were eventually going to make it pro afterwards, or?
Nah, man, not at all.
Yeah.
Bro, I swear, I would be sitting there talking to my coach at college, being just like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what I'm going to do after this. Like, because I thought I'd gone so far away from football now. Like, I was in the middle of nowhere. I was playing with some good kids and like training was good, but then obviously like it's college, so the level drops off quick. You know, there's boys who are just really amateur and like teams that are really, really bad. And so I'm just looking around like, all right, I guess like I'm in a really relaxed place. I'm gonna get a degree. I get to like enjoy my football really good. So I'm just gonna enjoy this because I have no idea what's gonna happen after. So yeah, I was in a really free. I let go of everything at that moment. Just wanted to see what would like stick and what would come back. But I was training hard though, and I was enjoying the fact that I could train hard and play a lot of football as well. So
when did the per se dream come back? When did you start realizing, okay, maybe it's like I can play after?
I would say like towards the end of my college. So like the last year there, even in PDL, I'd done pretty well, and then we played against some of like the 23s of the MLS teams, and like I saw that they weren't that good and stuff. So I remember like when I graduated from school, I remember I didn't think, right, I'm gonna be a pro now. I remember just being in a total, like I was 100% sure that I was good enough to play in this country, in America, and that was enough for me. Like I was like, if I don't get to play, I don't mind because I know that I'm more than good enough to play here. So like I'm gonna try and play here, but if not, then this thing that's out of my control. Like I'm okay with it. Just the fact that I know that I can play was enough because I didn't really care much about sticking around. So I had a lot of trials lined up, But like when I was going to them, I wasn't going there dying to play. A lot of them were like some of the USL teams, and you see the setups, and like I didn't feel any great desire to like want to play for this team, you know. So I was like, if I go home, I don't mind going home and figuring something out. So I don't think I even had it then. I just was so 100% okay with being where I was, and for nothing to happen, basically.
Okay.
It was almost like that situation where like you stop looking for it, you know. So it actually then it just like falls in your lap a little bit.
Damn. So how did Louisville come about then?
I went to like 6-7 trials. Like 1 or 2 of them were MLS as well, which I was like a bit more up for, but still didn't go well. Like they always were just saying like, you look like a good player, but we probably think you need a year in the USL or something. I'm like, whatever, like whatever lets you sleep at night, you know. And so it was like my 7th trial, and the problem for me was they were combines. So you know combines are just an absolute circus, you know.
Yeah.
So like at combines, I'm like, I don't do well because it's a team sport, and I put the team first. So like I'm not gonna shine in a combine, you know.
Yeah.
And so eventually with Louisville, it was actually preseason had started, so they asked me to go train with them, and then like once I started, I was at Bethlehem first, which the Philadelphia team. I was with their preseason, and like I did a week with them, and they were like, "We really, really want to sign you, but we don't have any more international spots." Like the MLS team was saying, like, "We're done." I was like, "That's cool. I mean, like that's all right. You know, you can see I can play." That was it. And then I went to Louisville, and the same thing happened. Like I was killing it, and so they were like, "All right, we'll sign you." Basically, yeah. So yeah.
That's one thing that really frustrates me. This international cap thing, man.
Yeah, it's been killing me as well the whole time, man. I mean, it kind of makes sense, but then it's like, for what rule? It's like, at least invest more in your infrastructure and your like youth system and stuff then for that to be the case, because it helps American players out. But like, if you invested in their development too, then it would be even better. Like, it's a bit, it just limits things, you know.
No, I get that. So talk us through your first year at Louisville.
My first year I was buzzing. I was actually happy because, I mean, you have like the house that they put you in is a little apartment. I had my roommate was the boy from Young Harris, now McCabe, so I was like comfortable with that.
Yeah.
And you're just training, bro. You just get to be a professional again. You wake up, train, have your lunch, train again after lunch, and then rest. Like, it's such a simple life that I wasn't playing much, but it was okay. I was like more picking up the speed and getting used to what they were doing, because they had a particular style. And to be honest, James O'Connor like made me the player I am now, because he was like a really, really strong drill sergeant, but he like embodied and exemplified all of the qualities he asked from us himself. So like he was always showing us how to be by doing it first, and then screaming your ear off as well to tell you to do it. So it's like, you're like, you know, you can't say anything because he's been doing his preaching as well. He's practicing what he's preaching. Yeah, so he helped me a lot improve. And then halfway through the season, I got my first start finally. And I pretty much kind of cemented it from there, slowly gaining more trust. You know, he's a guy who needed to trust you first before he played you. So once you had his trust, though, you were good. And like, it made you feel good too.
No, for sure. You guys did pretty well your first year, right?
Yeah, I mean, without bragging, like the team's done well every single year. Like every year they've existed. Like even the year before me that I joined was the first year they were around, and they made it to the Eastern final. And then the team that they lost to won the whole thing. And then, the first year I joined, we made it to the Eastern final again, lost to the Red Bulls, who won the whole thing. And then the year after that was, I think we won it then, didn't we?
Yeah. I think you won it the 2 years after that, isn't it?
Yeah, we won it that year and then won it the year after. And then even last year, 2019, we got to the final of the championship again. So we won the East. So the East, we've actually won 3 times in a row, the Eastern Conference. Which is like, there's some history there, bro, but you know, you don't want to like brag too much.
Yeah, but like, talk me through like, because obviously like there's a lot of teams, especially in terms of we have to break them down in half, East and West. So like, what does it take like on a day-to-day basis of like actually winning it, and plus winning it 3 times in a row?
Well, that's something that I hopefully have learned a lot. And that comes from James, is the first thing is you have to have a strict culture set in the team. Yeah. Like the team has to have a very, very clear and like easy to follow, like cultural expectation, a list almost of expectations, so that at any moment, if someone falls out of line, anyone from the group can hold them accountable because everyone is on board doing the same thing. So like, I just credit to James O'Connor because he was able to get us all fully like on board in the same direction. And so when that happens, you can play any system you want. You know, you can play 3 at the back, 4 at the back, or whatever. You can be the best players in the team in the league, or you can have just the hardest working players in the league, and you'll still cause damage. You know. Yeah. And so every single day, the main thing for us was every single day we were told the only expectation we had was to max out in training. Yeah. To give everything you have, even if it's like a technical session, you're not going to be blowing after, but you've applied yourself fully to the task that you were given. Even if there's mistakes and that, you can see everyone is like on board. And so that was our biggest thing, was just waking up every single day and coming in to do what was asked of us at the best of our capabilities in that moment. Yeah. And so that gave us the edge when things were getting tricky, like late in the game, when things are even or like teams are dying out. We always had a little edge to us, you know. We always had a little bit more because, to be honest, training was oftentimes harder than game days for us. Like the way we trained against each other during those years of success was like the match was a joy. It was easy afterwards, you know. Yeah. And that stuff really opened my eyes to like success, you know, to what it really means to like get success.
Was it something that you saw when you walked like in straight away, or like, because you said they won the year before, innit? Like when you came in, did you like see it and know that like this is it, and like the people from the top in terms of like maybe the captains and stuff were implementing it straight away?
I think it was there. It was definitely getting there, but there was always one piece missing. Like if there was a striker who for half the year was kind of like acting a bit big time or had a bit of an ego, yeah. like he would get rid of these, he would trim these sorts of characters out of the squad. But it took a year or two for him to get the right perfect balance, I think. So when I was first there, it was definitely there, and especially from James, he's always like carried himself the exact same way, you know, like he's never had the day off basically. But within the squad itself, it wasn't quite fully like absorbed yet. So I think it took a year or two to really get there, and that's when you saw like the constant success after that. The consistency as well. But yeah, it was definitely getting there, I would say.
Yeah, that's mad. Because I remember I was like, damn, these guys are winning every year. I'm like, what the hell?
All the time, bro. It feels weird to think about it, but like we've always done well. I really hope that like the people who are part of it like remember it forever, because even if you go on to play higher levels or whatever, you might even achieve other things outside of football. You've that experience, those 3 years, especially the 2 years that we won back to back, were like unforgettable for me, because like we had such a strong unity. Like any footballer knows that when you're on a good team, like you're all pretty much brothers. Yeah. And we had such a close vibe like that those people, like they become like your best friends, you know, even if you don't talk to them again for like 10 years. So yeah, it was special, definitely something special, man.